Hey everyone, how you doing? It's your boy Shaheener coming at you with Season 2, Episode 8 of the Pokémon Babblers podcast. Of course, joined by my co-host Bano over here.
Yo.
And so we are going to be talking about another first in a franchise within the franchise. We are talking about Pokemon Ranger for the Nintendo DS. And something I guess it didn't click with me until then, is that, yeah, I know that it came out on the DS, so in my head I was like, oh yeah, this is Generation 4, but it's still technically part of Generation 3. I don't know, for some reason I kept on thinking it was Gen 4. But, I mean, then again, they did have Mystery Dungeon on DS and on Game Boy Advance, so it's still kind of in that in between, like kind of at the tail end of the Ruby Sapphire era, about to start Diamond and Pearl. But
Yeah, literally, because it came out in 2006, right?
yeah, it came out in 2006. So more specifically, it came out March 23rd, 2006 in Japan. Then in America, it came out, or North America, I should say, October 30th, 2006. In Australia, it came out December 7th, 2006. And then in Europe on April 13th, 2007. But then later on in 2016, they would re-release it on the Wii U Virtual Console just throughout 2016 on the different regions. Yeah, 17 years since Pokemon Ranger first came out. And since then, there's been a multitude of games within the series, and pretty beloved by fans, I would say. I mean, maybe not like the greatest games of all time, but like they're very good spin off games.
Yeah, I'd say the second one, which we'll get to at some point, is up there with like it's not up there with like Coliseum, but it's like in the conversation when you talk about top spin-offs, Pokemon spin-offs.
Yeah, I think I would have to agree because I definitely played the next one, which we will definitely be getting to in a couple episodes. But this one here, I only played briefly. I think when it came out, I might have played it at some point. I think I only played it for a tiny bit, or or actually no, I didn't play it like right when it came out because it was 2006. So that was at the point where like I wasn't really like playing Pokemon stuff. But yeah, I think I played it a few years later. I think I just tried it out and I was like, I don't know, my attention span just didn't carry over to it at the moment, but I'll definitely be getting into it pretty soon. And yeah, it's an action adventure game and it's set up in the Fiore region. Oh, by the way, it's developed or co-developed actually by HAL Laboratory and Creatures Inc.
Good
And
old HAL Laboratory.
yeah, HAL Laboratory is always consistent. Well, pretty much always consistent. I don't think they've had any duds, have they?
I'm pretty sure they have
Probably.
if we dig deep. But HAL
Yeah.
Laboratory is always pretty
Yeah.
consistent with good games.
Especially with first party Nintendo stuff. Like they usually
I'd
do
say
pretty good.
Kirby's still selling to this
Yeah.
day. So
Yeah. And Smash Bros. Got started with HAL Laboratory as well. So, yeah, with Mastery Sakurai over at HAL, and then it got switched over to Bandai Namco. But, yeah, so it's basically you're traveling through the Fiore region, which is another region that was created just for this. And you're more in the roles of, well, a ranger rather than a Pokemon trainer. Because trainers will catch Pokemon in Pokeballs and they're traveling, battling gym leaders and all that stuff. Rangers are more concerned with like conservation efforts and making sure that like the citizens are safe and like the Pokemon are safe, and they're more of like kind of like a superhero in a way, but not as like drawn out, I guess.
vigilante justice.
Vigilante just base. Well, I mean, it's organized vigilantism. So is that still vigilantism?
Vigilante. No. Um, yeah, it's a cool concept. We saw Rangers in Ruby and Sapphire. I'm pretty sure if you go in there, they're the characters that have like the rope and the Pokeball attached to the rope. And some of
Yeah.
their character sprites are like doing that around. And honestly, as a kid, didn't stop for 2 seconds to even think about it. But as I am older, I'm kind of like I'm kind of like sad that the whole Ranger concept is, spoiler alert, the whole Ranger concept's kind of been dropped because one of the later games, has never had a follow up. At least like within, I don't even know when it came out, but it feels like it's been like the last 10 years. Rangers just been left.
Yeah. Yeah, that's been the sad thing about at least the spin-off environment these days for Pokemon games, that it's very rare when we get a console-based spin-off game that isn't like co-released with a mobile game, like what was that one, the one with like the cubes and stuff, was that Pokemon Quest?
Yeah, Pokemon
Yeah.
Quest, I think.
Yeah, where they're like they have a co-release or they're like a free to start or whatever, but actually getting a full-fledged game, we haven't really gotten too many of those lately. Like we'll be getting Detective Pikachu Returns are actually, at the time of release of this video, it might be out already. I'm not entirely sure, but Detective Pikachu Returns is like the first one we gotten in a long time, it feels like.
Yeah, it like I said, it sucks. I get it kind of because it's the we'll get into the gameplay later, but it's kind of repetitive, and they've obviously did it over 3 games. The problem I think that they're facing is just try to like not do that again.
Yeah.
But also, how do they make it interesting? Because at the end of the day, the game has to be fun to play, and that's like how that's what sells games. They have to be fun to play, and they have to they have to have something that keeps you there. And like I said, we'll get to the gameplay later and why it's kind of just played out at that point.
Yeah.
And I also don't know how it works on the Switch, but we'll keep going.
And also that something that keeps you like enticed the whole time, or something that draws you in the first place. Because I mean, a game could be fun, but like, what's going to be the draw to the consumer? What's going to be drawing you to play a game? And so it's like, I feel like if you're doing like, oh, Pokemon Ranger number 6 or whatever, and it's like, a lot of people I feel like would be like, oh, do I have to play 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, or could I just jump into this one? Which I'm sure you can. I'm sure you could play like the latest one and not have a problem. I'm sure they're not like that connected, but it's still like, what's going to entice you to start playing a game too? Yeah. So basically, so in a way, you are still capturing Pokemon in this game, but it's not in the traditional format that trainers do with like throwing a Pokeball and capturing them. Instead, you're capturing them with this device that they call the Styler, which is really just, at least while you're playing the game, you're using your touchscreen
remote control top.
Yeah, exactly. The remote control top, and you're using the touchscreen on your DS. So basically, you kind of just like use it and like circle around on the stylus, like on the touchscreen.
And that's where the problem is because that's fun for like the first hour you play. But then afterwards, it just gets kind of repetitive. It gets really repetitive. Yeah. Also, it's a what do you call it?
Wear a screen protector. Have a screen protector.
Yeah, it's not a hazard, but you definitely could start burning, a hole in your screen depending on how forceful you are with drawing the circles. So I think that's the challenge they face going forward: is how do they make the game engaging, and not super repetitive. And also don't damage the console. Like that's right. What I figure is holding them back. I think it might have worked on the Wii because you had the motion controller, you could do the circle on the screen kind of.
Or the circle pad on the 3DS could have worked.
Yeah, it could have done that, but I just think that they were probably when trying to go forward with it, nobody probably had like a good idea on how to actually do it. So I don't. I mean, it's really early to like be skeptical.
Yeah.
But I honestly, because that's the thing that we go back to, is I said earlier, is that in Gen 3 they had the Rangers more as like a park ranger service where they were actual trainers with Pokemon, and I think there are a couple too in Gen 4. I think there needs to be a difference between trainer rangers and rangers that are like in this game and like how they are, how they're separate. And going forward, if they were to do something like that, I think like a story-driven ranger story with the trainer rangers would be an easier way than doing the ones that borrow Pokemon.
Yeah, that's true. I could see that working, but also I would think like if it were to like take too much from the main series games, which I'm sure they could probably like make it work in their favor, but I'm just like, I guess it's a good reason why I'm not like a game designer, because I can't conceptualize or just thinking about like what could they do that's like that kind of forges their own path that's not too far into Ranger but not too far into the main series games.
It is, yeah. It is hard. I'm not trying to emphasize that. It is very hard, like trying to come up with an idea. I'm pretty sure somebody has, but for me, in the spur of the moment, I can't think of an idea on how to do it.
Yeah.
Would I love another Ranger game? Yeah, I would love another Ranger game. These games were pretty fun. But I just don't see myself caring about it as much as I would if when the DLC drops again, like Indigo Disc, I'd probably like, I don't want to play with you anymore, and then just drop
right.
Have that horror sequence play out.
Yeah, I mean, I probably get it because I'm just a sheep at this point, but
you're a Wooloo.
Yeah, I'm a Wooloo I'm a Dubwool, dude. I'm Dubwool.
Dubwool.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably be enticed to play it like if they made it look good, but I mean, I don't know. We'll have to see if they even consider doing another spin-off game, like a spin-off based off of one of these previous like franchises or series within the franchise.
What was the latest one we got? The Rescue Team DX?
Yeah, which is still just a remake of the original ones.
Just a remake, yeah.
Yeah, but then before that was Super Mystery Dungeon for the 3DS, I'm pretty sure.
Damn.
If I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure I could be wrong, but...
We'll get there. We'll get there when we make it to the end of season 2.
Yeah, exactly. When we get closer to the season finale, I guess. But so you get to choose between 2 different characters for your ranger. So if you want the male character, then you're going with Lunik, and then the female character, which is Solana, and then they have their respective starters of Plusle or Minun. Mm-hmm. And so again, emphasizing the Gen 3.
Pokemon that is a thing with Rangers. They get a partner Pokemon, which it's kind of vague as to if you own it.
Yeah.
Or if it just hangs out around you the whole time. And that serves a purpose as when you do like captures, you borrow your partner's Pokemon to use their power. So with Plusle and Minun, I believe you could use it to like stun a Pokemon or like paralyze it. And then that stops the Pokemon from moving about on the screen so that you can use your stylus to draw circles around it. And each Pokemon, when you do a capture, has... it's like a certain number above their head, and it goes down as you draw circles?
I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken on that one, where it's like you can't do it infinitely. Because that's part of their field moves, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has to recharge after a while, but the main gimmick to capture Pokemon is you have to draw a certain number of circles around them. It doesn't have to be continuous. You can draw 5, stop doing it, draw another 5, stop doing it. There is a timer, I think, however, during each encounter that's going down so that you have to catch it within a certain time, otherwise you just fail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
when failure happens, I think you just get kicked out of like the capture screen, and then you have to re-engage it and do it.
Mm-hmm.
So that is like your failure condition to do that.
There weren't shiny Pokemon in these games, were there?
No, that's why I'm kind of just like.
But
it did offer something that's actually pretty cool. But we'll get there when we get there. Obviously, there is somewhat of a Pokedex in this game, or just a representation of how many Pokemon there are. And we talk about it. This game takes place in the Fiore region. It's a brand new region. It's got islands. Isn't it? They're based on like seasons, like Fall Island, Winter Island, something like that.
Something of the sort. Yeah, I actually haven't played too far into this game, so everything that I know is just purely off of my research.
Yeah, it's been years since I played it.
There's I believe that they're all based off of different seasons. Like Fall City is the first one that you end up in, and things like that.
Obviously, like we said, this is the tail end of Gen 3, so it utilizes Pokemon from Gen 1 to 3. In that, and then there's a whole story to it, which is actually it's a self-contained story. It's actually really good. I like the drip. I don't know if you could pull it up on the Bulbapedia that the Rangers have. Like the Ranger outfit's like pretty good. I'd kill to have that outfit in like the games, like X and Y, or like the games going forward. I would love to have Ranger drip.
I'd love to have some kind of drip now in these games.
I'd love to have some kind of drip in Scarlet and Violet because I have jack shit.
The worst excuse for trainer customization in any game. Like, it started in X and Y was like really the first one where you could customize the stuff, right?
Yeah, X and Y was good. Yeah. Obviously, the female character had way more outfits. Yeah. Gen 7 came. I think there were a couple.
It was all right, but Gen 8, the trainer customization, insane. It was so good. But, of course, mainly for the female character. Like, the male character didn't really get much. So, like, I first played on Sword as a male character because that's how I identify, but... It's like, I was like, this is stupid. Like, there's, like, no options over here. We get no drip. Right. And so I had to switch over. It's on Shield. I was playing as a female character, and I played the game way more. And it's like every time we would do Dynamax adventures, I would change my outfit every single time. Like, I changed the hair, changed the eyes, changed the outfit, everything. And it was just, I don't know. It's just like a different character almost every single time.
Well, I guess we should clarify. In Scarlet and Violet, the trainer as in the physical being like customization is extensive. You can change your eyes, hair, all that stuff a lot. Like there's a lot of options for that, but in terms of clothing, there's not a lot.
It's basically school uniforms for different times of year, and then now with the teal mask that you get a little bit more of like you get like different
Jinbei.
Yeah, Jinbei. So you have different color ones, and then you have like the flashy one if you donate a million Poké Dollars or whatever. But it's like,
I feel
even
like
then,
they
you can't change like the top or the pants or like there's not like it's all just pre-made outfits.
Yeah, I feel like they should have done a little bit more. I feel like they should have probably. I mean, obviously, like done their not done their research, but like see what kind of difference what kids do with their certain outfits. Because obviously, if they're wearing like sweaters, a lot of the kids when it gets hot take it off and then do their kung fu belt. I
Yeah.
would have loved that option.
Or like the
But at
Fresh
the
Prince of
same,
Bel Air, where you invert your jacket.
yeah, and also at the same time, it's an American. I think it's more of an American thing where they have let kids like wear what they want. At least with
Well, at least
kids,
public school. Public school.
yeah. Public school, you can wear whatever you want, but if you go to like a private school, they have a uniform. But I'm pretty sure like a reward at private schools, because I went to one, had like a wear whatever you want day or wear your own clothes day.
Yeah.
That's kind of a reward. So I don't know, but yeah, the clothing options in Scarlet and Violet need to change.
Yeah. Yeah. For real though, but I don't think they're going to, obviously. But
Right.
getting back on track somewhat. But yeah, basically with these ones, there are 213 Pokemon acquirable in Ranger, and it's all kind of like centralized in terms of information, not in a Pokédex, but what they call the Fiore browser. And yeah, it's all ranging throughout generations 1 through 3. And so they have a good spread of kind of like every generation up until that point. And of course, there's about like, what is that, like 170 Pokemon that are omitted, like 173 Pokemon omitted. But I mean, it's still like pretty decent, like little 50%. And there is another thing called RangerNet that's unlocked post game, which I believe that in that one has the final mission, but also it gives you a very, very special, like a very cool reward, which I don't think we've ever seen anything like this in any other Pokemon game. Which do you
No.
want to get into now, or do you want to wait until like post game, like when we talk about post game?
Let's talk about it in post game, because it's
Okay.
kind of a post. It's kind of a
Yeah,
post thing.
it's kind of cool though. But yeah, which I'm still like whoa, that's I don't know, it's very enticing to beat the game. Like that's something that like collectors or people that are trying to work on like Pokedexes or living decks or whatever. This is a game where you need to pick it up basically if you're trying to like get a certain one.
But so you start the game off. It's a lot different because in a different game they go into more detail on how Rangers get started. But you get off a boat on Fall City and meet Spencer, which is spelt weird, which is always a thing with these Pokemon games. I don't know why they do it. Who is the leader of the Ringtown base? Is a local ranger base that has like a couple rangers that take turns. Obviously, kind of like a regular police force. Obviously, they go in rotations and whatnot. Where a situation unfolds and a Houndoom is harassing people, and or is harassing people in Pokemon, and you go to contain it, and it's either harassing whichever one you took, whichever character you picked, the opposite, either Minun or Plusle.
Yep.
And the players is just given a styler to capture and calm the Plusle, and then use it to calm down the Houndoom in return. And that's kind of like your tutorial on how to capture Pokemon, and then how to use your partner Pokemon's power to capture other Pokemon using the styler. You're then Go ahead.
I was gonna say that's basically, I'm pretty sure, yeah, that's what they call the field moves. So like each type has its own specific field move on there, so you kind of have to use them to your advantage. Like you were saying earlier with Plusle and Minun, that they had like the basically almost like a thunder wave where it kind of stops them in their tracks, where you could kind of draw around them and things like that.
Also, I don't think we talked about it, but the styler, when you're using it, if a Pokemon does it can attack the styler, and that can also like your styler has like a health bar. I don't know if it's a bar or a number, but if it is attacked a certain number of times, the styler itself will break or stop working, and that's when you get kicked out or fail a mission. Because essentially the Pokemon's trying to, kind of like how it's trying to stop being caught in a Pokeball. It's it's trying to stop being caught by the styler.
Yeah, maybe we should
And then
just
there's
stop
also-
catching them.
Yeah, there's also some under thing where it's like the feelings are transmitted through the styler to the Pokemon to like calm its emotions. I don't know why they added that detail. I just could have said it's just a capture mechanic.
Right.
But they did. Anyway, you then meet Murph, a ranger who's relatively incompetent because, it's just what it is. And you meet the other counterpart for the one you didn't pick, which in our case, we're talking about the male one, is Solana with her partner Pokemon, which is the other one you didn't capture, and all the other rangers. And then you're given a trial mission, and to that there's the forest fire. That's right. There's a forest fire, and that you have to go
basically use a Pokemon with a water type move, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a Blastoise.
Mm.
Yeah, you have to capture a Blastoise, and it uses Rain Dance to put out the forest fire. And that's kind of like your introduction to like what Rangers do, aside from calming down like random Pokemon, is also to combat natural disasters and whatnot. They do a better job of talking about it in the anime. It's really like a better explanation. But it's also like pretty interesting about that is that a ranger is like one of the primary main characters in one of the movies. Was it Manaphy, Prince of the Sea?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember his name, but he was cool.
I forget what that character's name was, but I remember that movie was pretty decent.
Yeah, it was pretty good. This is a little too May focused for me, but it was a decent movie.
Oh, I love the main character.
And great. I think like in his introduction, he's like catching a Zapdos or something.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool, and I think that was like just to tie in and promote Rangers, Ranger games.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, that's how a lot of stuff like that is, because like they've had other characters like from the spin-off games in the anime, like they had Todd Snap in there for a little bit, or
wink to the audience there. I miss it when they put the playable characters in the movies, like when they had Brendan and Lucas in the movies. We don't have anything. I don't think we've seen Hilbert or Hilda or Serena, or is it Serena? Is it Serena and Calum?
Yeah.
Or I don't even know the Sun and Moon ones.
Yeah, because and that's the thing. Like, I feel like that. Yeah, they should have had something about Brendan in like, you know how they had that one like side thing about the character Gold with like the
Raikou thing.
Yeah, they should have done something like that with Brendan. I feel like with like, they should have done something with Brendan like an Omega episode or a Delta episode or something like that with Brendan.
I mean, they had the one with the Mega Evolution, the Elaine dude, but like I don't care who this guy is.
Right.
I have no connection to him outside of you shoving him down my throat in the anime.
Yeah, because I think I was the most attached to Brendan at this point because I played so much of Gen 3 as a kid. Like I played through so much Ruby, and I don't know. I wanted to see more Brendan.
All right.
Yeah.
Back to the story.
Yeah.
There's a professor. There's always a professor, obviously, who introduces himself as the guy who invented the stylus, Professor Hastings.
Yeah.
And your mission is to escort him from Fall City to was it Ranger headquarters? Or is it just the next city?
I believe it's just the next city.
Is it either way? It's your first real mission as a Pokemon Ranger, and you have to go through this tunnel and deal with various hazards like rock falls and whatnot, and you have to just utilize Pokemon to help you get through it.
Yeah.
There is, however, some mysterious goons who are known as the Go Rock Squad, who ambush you and try and steal a prototype styler that's being carried by Professor Hastings, and cause a rock fall, which traps you and the professor. You have to go and find a Pokemon, which usually these missions they like throw like a bunch of Pokemon and they kind of like not ham fist you, but basically try to like get you to like, if you bring a Pokemon to it, it'll tell you no, this doesn't work, or no, this isn't the right one.
They hold your hand on it a bit.
So you really have to go in, and then usually it's like the biggest, toughest Pokemon around, or like the most obscure hidden Pokemon that you can find.
Yeah.
In this case, it's a Rhydon who gets mad by the falling rocks, and it tries to attack you, but obviously you capture it, use it to drill your way out of the cave, and then you have to go and report to the next ranger base exactly what happened. And the next leader is in Fall City, Joel, who wants to investigate. Oh, Joel's in this game?
Shout out to Joel.
Yeah, it just like flash the Twitch.
Yeah, go follow Joel on Twitch.
Who wants to investigate this mysterious team. They hand you various missions, and you also meet other rangers in Fall City. Throughout this, as you finish missions, you acquire points, which also has your rank go up, which allows you to unlock different abilities with your stylus, which is now you can use fire Pokemon, now you can use water Pokemon, and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. I don't remember if like your like stylus health goes up or like your beam becomes stronger so that it takes less. I feel like it just as like from a game thing, it should do that.
Yep.
Okay, eventually you meet the four I don't remember if they're like the actual leaders or they're just like the four admins of the Go Rock Squad.
Yeah, they're more admins.
But they're brothers and sisters. Like they're like what do you call them? Quartets.
Yeah, it's a quad. It's a Go Rock quads.
Grow Rock Quad. So they're brothers and sisters who are just so happen to be musicians.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what they all have, but
I could look that up real quick because
I remember there's a violin. I think
and I think that
drums.
there was a bass at one point. Let
Yeah.
me just double check because I wrote down their names, but I'll give you the.
Their names are Garrett, Tiffany, Clyde, and Billy. I don't know if those are supposed to be innuendos to like singers. I mean, I know Billy Idol, but I don't know a Tiffany or a Clyde.
I don't think that they're references to character to
musicians.
No, because so basically Garrett plays a bass, Tiffany plays violin, Clyde plays a single drum, and then Billy plays an electric guitar.
Nice.
So
I love the single drum.
Yeah, what kind of single drum though? Is it like a snare or a bass drum? Is it a tom? Like what is he playing?
It just plays a single drum, dude.
Yeah, just dum, dum, dum.
But basically, they want to they're industry saboteurs basically, and they want to co-opt the Super Styler to use it to usurp the Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, take over the world, I guess.
I like that word, usurp.
Usurp. Anyway, you meet an old man named Gondor in the forest, and that's just like a
thing is Gordor.
Gordor? Oh yeah,
not
Gordor.
Gondor, I think is like isn't Gondor?
Gondor. Gondor calls for aid. Gordor, and it's kind of like back to XD, where it's a little wink and a nod, like, "Hey, this guy might be important later." Later.
Yeah.
And then it's a few minutes later.
Yeah.
He's trying to end the world.
Yeah.
After that, you are now able to use the Dragonite bus, which is like our first instance of like the Corviknight taxi, and then the Squawkabilly taxi in Gen 9. It's like a Pokemon means of transportation of getting around places.
Yeah.
Which I find abhorrent that they're using Dragonite to shuttle buses around, and this is terrible.
As they should.
No.
As they should. No. They should all be relegated just in working and not by thriving. Yeah,
after finishing this episode, I'm flying to Fiora and I'm going to oppose the Dragonite bus transportation company.
You're going to fly in on a Dragonite bus.
I'm going I'm going to go on a hunger strike. Yeah. I will not stand for this injustice.
You were sounding pretty hungry there for a little bit, so I mean.
Anyway, you use the Dragonite bus to fly to Summerland, which is a new area, and you get access to a submersible that you can use to go and investigate other things and do other missions. However, it's missing parts, so then you try to challenge a... He also alludes to like this jungle relic place, which is kind of like this Legends of the Hidden Temple bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just like, oh, while we're waiting for the parts, why don't you go do this thing?
Yeah, it's also like the island challenge kind of thing. It's not it's not like a success or fail thing. It's like the fact that you tried it in the first place.
Yeah,
which is something that they touched on in Sun and Moon, but I don't really. I mean, they touched upon it a little bit with Guzma, but I don't think that like that story came to like a very conclusive ending.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the journey, not the destination kind of thing. But anyway, they have you do this. There's 4 challenges, which can be done in any order: challenge of the wind, challenge of the
water,
destruction.
Yeah.
They just have like really ominous names. But the thing to take away from this is that there's 4 very aggressive looking Pokemon with Flygon, Gyarados, Charizard, and Salamence, which I think they kind of allude to. I was looking it up because I remembered it. But it's not like a direct kind of allusion to the Battle Royale, because they use Charizard and Gyarados, Tyranitar, and Haxorus in like the 4-corner ring kind of thing.
Right, because it's like you at first, at least with the challenge of water, like you deal with the Gyarados, but really at the end of it...
Oh, no, is it Kingdra or Gyarados?
Yeah, Kingdra is who you battled, or who you have to capture, though, in the challenge. So that's why they're all shown on the box art, at least. Charizard, Kingdra, Flygon, Salamence, those are all part of the Jungle Relic Challenge.
Yeah, and as we say, like, it's not just like a go there, catch it kind of thing. It's always a, I have to catch this other Pokemon to put out this hazard to continue on to catch the Pokemon I actually am here to like catch.
Mm-hmm.
That's always like the gimmick with this game, is that you always have to use another Pokemon to get the Pokemon you actually need.
Almost sounds like a Mega Man kind of thing, where it's like, oh, I gotta go and beat this Robot Master so I could use this one to make it good against this one. That has to go to this one, this and this one, whatever.
I'd agree with you, but I think the allegory there needs to be, I need this Robot Master's power to get to that other Robot Master, not to just beat him.
Right, because I guess you can play it through all with just the Buster, but I mean,
if you're a maniac.
Yeah, if you just want to shoot lemons all day.
Right. Anyway, you do all 4 challenges, and the jungle place starts fucking having an earthquake into a volcano.
Volcanian.
Yeah. I think somebody gets mad at you and tries to confront
It was
you.
Arya, who's one of the rangers that you meet along the way.
And confront the Go Rock members who are here. They show up just all of a sudden for whatever reason. I think she ends up getting beat, so then you have to step in and fight them off. And you each of them have a Pokemon. I remember. I think one of them has a Slaking.
Yeah, Clyde has a Slaking.
Okay, and then after you beat him, they reveal their master plan, and they reveal Gondor again. Gondor. Hodor.
Hodor.
Yeah, they reveal Hodor, who is the leader, and I think he's like a crazy character design too. I don't remember what he looks like, but I feel like he has like a crazy character design.
Yeah, he has like a whole thing. But rank 7, was it rank 7? No, there's one point where no. The first Pokemon he sends out at you to fight you off is Entei. I'm pretty sure, right?
I know one of them have Entei, and then you can catch it after the game to fill out your Fiore Dex or Fiore thing.
Right, yeah, because basically, once you confront Gordor, he sends out an Entei. He also reveals himself at that point as, the leader of Go-Rock. So he was like, it's been me all along! And it's like, you asshole. And he sends that out, you go capture it, but you can't control it just yet, though. You capture it just to calm it down, but you can't, use it basically as, a regular. Yeah.
Either way, I think that they either retreat or you run away, either or. It's just a non-confrontive kind of thing. You both walk away and nobody really wins or loses anyway. You go back to Summerland. The mechanic who's supposed to fix the submersible has a fear of bugs, and I don't know, there's Spinarak or something in the basement, so he's afraid of it. So you have to go escort him to go find the missing parts. He accidentally in air quotes there, kicks a Magikarp, which then evolves into a Gyarados and is pissed off.
Yeah.
Which I always love that gimmick in a game. They do that in the I think they do that in the manga, or they do that in another medium where the guy
they
kicks
do that
him.
in Snap as well, where it's you have to knock the Magikarp over to get Gyarados, right?
Yeah, I love that gimmick of treating Magikarp poorly and then a Gyarados coming to burn your house down.
Right.
So then you have to calm down the Gyarados and return to Summerland with the missing parts, which he then fixes the submarine and calls it the Aqua Mole, and which you then use to travel to not Wind Town, or not Fall Town, or no, there's Fall City, Summerland.
It's Wind Town.
Wind Town, or not Winter Town. So you have to go to Wind Town.
Yeah, Wind Town.
Where it just so happens to have the base of the Go Rock Squad, which you then infiltrate while Spencer steals while you infiltrate, cause a ruckus, and Spencer steals back the prototype of the Super Styler. The Charizard from the Temple of the Hidden Doom, Hidden Ranger Doom,
the Temple
reappears, and causes more havoc. You capture it once more, and you have a battle with the Go Rock quads again, which they all use their Pokemon. Can you look up what they have? I remember them all having specific Pokemon. One had a Slaking. What were the other ones?
Okay, so yeah, Tiffany has Camerupt. Clyde has Slaking. Garrett has Scizor. And Billy has T-Tar.
Oh, Billy also being the electrical guitarist.
Intellectual, yeah.
Anyway, you infiltrate. You steal back the stylus after the skirmish. Their base just crumbles, which is awesome. Mission 10 being the last one, Lunit goes to the mountains, and after reaching a certain point, he's confronted by Hodor, who notes that he's completed the Super Styler. I guess that he wasn't complete, but he completes it and reveals the instruments of the quads we're all using was prototypes of the Super Styler, which they used to control said Pokemon from before. He then sends out the rest of the legendary beasts, Raikou and Suicune, and to fight you, install you. Anyway, you capture those. Gordor claims it doesn't matter since he can still control Entei, and it's revealed that Gordor and Hastings used to work together, kind of a Dr. Light, Dr. Wily kind of thing.
Yeah, Dr. Wily, Dr. Light.
Was feeling inferior, had those feelings of inferiority with the projects, and then you defeat him by capturing the Entei, and with nothing left, he decides to just give up, as all people do, as they're defeated by like a 12-year-old child.
Yeah, exactly. As one does. You just give up.
The day is saved. The Super Styler is returned. You return back to Ringtown as a hero, and that's it. You're an official ranger now. Yeah. You go into the post game, which there's also I think there's side missions in this one. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah,
there's like side missions where you can
far into side missions stuff. I was mainly looking at main plot when I was.
I'm pretty sure there's side missions you can do that require people asking for a specific Pokemon. Like somebody wants to look at a Muck, kind of like how the ones in RCS are.
Right.
That you go catch a specific Pokemon or have it do something like stop the sewage from leaking or stop a fire or do something to supplement your main quest stuff and also increase the rank of your styler and whatnot.
Yeah, and also reinforce that it's the Rangers are for the people.
The people.
We're giving Gotham back to you. The people. You think these Pokemon are your friends? I've been molded by them.
Yeah, so overall it's a great experience. The story isn't anything huge. We're not dealing with Team Rocket or anything. Yeah. Right. And it's really kind of self-contained. Yeah, very low stakes. Because while strong, I don't think Entei, Raikou, and Suicune are gonna take over the entire world.
Nah, I'm not too worried about them really.
Right. So with that being said, the story's cool. The characters are interesting-ish. None of them really stand out.
Yeah, other than their outfits.
Right, other than their outfits. And like I said, this was the first game of the series, and always being the first one through the door is you're gonna get torn to pieces. Basically, everybody's gonna nitpick everything, and everything that is bad, that I would say is bad about this game, is great because the second game just makes it so much better.
Oh my gosh, the second one was ridiculous.
Yeah, this game had to take the hits it did. Can you look up what it was on IGN? How this game reviewed? Yeah.
Pokémon Ranger. 7.1 out of 10.
7.1 out of 10. That seems like IGN.
Yeah, that's an IGN rating.
Yeah, we'll get into our ratings in a minute. Honestly, I'd give this one a 6.
Yeah, I was kind of feeling the same.
It's an above average game. I don't think it's worth going out of your way to get.
Unless
it depends on who you are.
Yeah. If you actually want to play every single Pokemon game ever, or if you wanted something different.
Like Alex said earlier, there's not much that this one has that you need to understand the better one, which is Shadows of Almia.
Yeah, exactly. And pretty much the main draw at this point for the game, I mean, other than trying something different, but you can still just play Shadows of Almia. Really, the biggest draw is in the post game. So I mentioned it a little bit earlier in the episode. Is that there's RangerNet. Once you unlock that, you have to do a certain button combination. Then you add in a password, I'm pretty sure, and you get access to a Manaphy egg that you transfer over to the Gen 4 games, Diamond, Pearl, Platinum. And that's the only official way as of right now, I believe, or at least. No, it's the first official way. Yeah, it's the first and only way in the Gen 4 games of getting Manaphy.
Right.
Which is just insane. And then from there, you could breed it down to Fione, right?
You can breed it into a Fione with a Ditto.
But you can't evolve it up. Yeah.
You can't evolve. Fione doesn't evolve now, but you can transfer it up. This is where I want you to superpose the Charlie, with the crazy thing on the thing. Yeah. Okay, so this Manaphy can actually be shiny. It's the only way to obtain shiny Manaphy. In existence. They've never released. There's never a release. But here's how you do it: you get the egg from Ranger, right? but the way that the shiny is calculated is on the file itself. So if you've played a full playthrough and hatch it and it's not shiny, you're screwed. Or at least you have to start a new file and then transfer those eggs over to the new file to hatch them. Yeah, right? Right?
What the heck? Are you
So,
serious?
Yeah, that's how it works. So if you wanted to, you could so if you have two versions of the game, Pearl and Diamond, let's say you transfer the eggs, let's say it's just one for the sake of the conversation. You transfer it to Pearl. You started a new game on Pearl. It's on Pearl. Diamond is a fresh copy, right? You start a new game, you get your starter, you catch a Pokemon, you can available to do the trades, you trade said egg over to Diamond, you save, you hatch the thing, it's not shiny, you restart Pearl, get your starter, catch a Pokemon, be able to trade, send the egg over to Pearl, hatch it there, it's not shiny, you transfer it back to Diamond on a fresh new game, and you keep going back and forth until the egg is shiny.
Oh my god. And how long does that take to, you have to, every time you reset that, it's half an hour?
Each reset is probably 20 minutes if you're very concentrating on going through it and doing it.
Dude,
but
no.
Yeah, I've seen people do it, but they've had 4 copies or they've beaten Ranger multiple times, so that way they can have 4 or 5 eggs, and then they'll transfer them back and forth and back and forth and back and forth.
Crazy.
But like I said, it is the only way to get shiny Manaphy at all.
You know what that reminds me of? Because I know we talked about it in the Coliseum episode, but the Pure Disc with Jirachi. Because you said at one point that is shiny huntable.
Yeah.
Or it's available to be shiny. I just did that recently. I just did the Jirachi distribution recently. That takes so freaking long to get. To go through the whole steps.
It does. But I don't remember it exactly, but you have to look it up. It's something about closing the game as it's saving. It'll it'll redo the frames so that way it cuts that how long it took you in half.
Yeah. Oh, gotcha.
So you can't cut that in half, but it's still gonna take forever because it's 1 in 8,000.
That's so jank.
But like I said, it is the only way to get shiny Manaphy, and there's actually a little bit of a kerfuffle when they made Home. I think it was when Home was first created and first introduced. It allowed people to do it. They didn't allow shiny Manaphy to be transferred because they considered it an illegal Pokemon because it's illegal to get. But as the fans pointed out, it's 100% legal to get.
Yeah.
It's just borderline impossible to do.
Yeah.
And the Pokemon Company actually were like, you know what, you're right. And then they lifted the ban so you could transfer your shiny Manaphy.
Pokemon Company actually listened to the fans?
Yeah, or at least for that one instance.
That's wild.
So if you manage to get it, you should be able to transfer it all the way up to the current generation now.
Dang. That's great, though, that they actually, listen. The people.
Yeah. The people that have actually done it,
It's 5 people.
Yeah.
No, applause to them. Shout out to the people that actually did that. But
I'm
also,
not sure...
you should probably, get evaluated.
Right. I'm not sure if you can... I'm not sure if the Manaphys are specific to one game, or you have to, start a new file each time. I'm not sure exactly how it works. I'd have to go and do the research on it, but like I said, this is the only way you can possibly do it. So every year, that Ranger games get thrown away or lost or destroyed, that many more shiny Manaphys die.
You know what's so funny though? Okay, so recently I acquired myself a copy of Ranger, but I think I had a brain fart because I think about Shadows of Almia so much. I was thinking, oh yeah, I just got to beat Shadows of Almia and then I could get the Manaphy egg. Turns out it was Ranger, so I went and had to go purchase that one too. So now I have both Ranger and Shadows of Almia.
Right.
But,
it sucks.
I wish it was still in the Shadows of Almia, that they just bring it forward in the other games.
Yeah, it is kind of cool. This is the only mythical that we've ever been given. And it was also to tie in with the movie because it comes in an egg, and the egg is in the movie.
Yeah, and it's its own special egg too. It's a very it looks like a Manaphy basically.
Yeah, it does not look like any other egg, which is also something I feel like they should do because eggs in the anime are awesome because it's actually what the Pokemon looks like.
Oh my gosh, I still remember that episode. They first show the eggs and they all obviously looked like, oh, it's a Pichu egg or it's a whatever.
Or it's an Elekid egg or a Magby egg. Yeah.
Yeah, those ones were so cool.
really cool. I remember drawing those like in my little journal, like all like the eggs, and trying to like imagine like what a Charmander egg would look like and what a, stuff like that.
Yeah, seriously though, that would have been so sick. But yeah, they just keep the one. I'm guessing because so that way they don't have to do like a million different sprites for every single one.
Fucking do it.
I know,
Cowards.
They can't even get
Cowards.
the full rostered in the game, so
No, they can't.
yeah, they can't even get the full roster. So how could they get a bunch of eggs for that
I
roster?
saw a video the other day. It says like Pokemon actually cares, and people were just in the comments like lies, lies and slander.
It's actually me as all the commenters.
Yeah, it's me and all my alt accounts.
Exactly. It's like
But yeah.
Shaheener and Shaheener alt, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we gave it a quick run over here. It's not a terrible game,
No.
but obviously, like we've said it like multiple times, like Shadows of Almia. Like if you were gonna play one of the Ranger games, play that one.
Facts. But
Yeah.
this one is still like worth playing at some point, though. I
Right.
mean, at least from what I've seen, like it looks pretty cool. I'll be playing it pretty soon too because I do want to get that Manaphy egg. But I'm not gonna shiny hunt it because at least like I haven't gotten that far off the deep end yet. But
Yeah.
maybe someday. But when I'm just like just on my deathbed, I have nothing else going on before I fucking croak. I'm just like, Manaphy.
Yeah, trading back and forth. Yeah,
Exactly.
It's something. Like I there's I don't know if anybody's live streamed it before, but I just can't imagine like the dedication.
That'd be
you
the
need.
most chaotic live stream. I wouldn't be interacting with the chat at all.
Yeah, because each time you'd have to make absolutely sure that you save the eggs before you hatch them and not after.
Oh my gosh, that'd just be way too chaotic for me. But
Not
yeah,
to mention you'd have to run through Ranger multiple times.
exactly. I don't think I could handle that. But I mean, it would be fun to play Ranger just as like a full thing to be like, oh, it's like this is what started Shadows of Almia. Yeah.
Right. This is the beginning.
Yeah.
But yeah, I give this game a 6 out of 10. It's not a bad game. It's just not a super interesting game.
Yeah, it's just like the beginning of something special.
It's the beginning. Obviously, I don't think I'd stamp this one like go out and play it. If you're interested, do it.
Look at it.
If you're not, like I said, I would save your interest for Shadows of Almia instead.
Yeah, like the completionist ratings that he had is like look at it. But,
Look at it,
yeah, it's like watch some gameplay, see if it entices you at all, and then or the stuff that I've been having up here. If you're curious about that, like check that out. But,
Yeah, look at it, think about it, and then play Shadows of Almia.
True.
Yeah, look at this game, think about playing it, don't play it, play Shadows of Almia instead.
Exactly. But yeah, I think that's basically it for this episode. I mean, yeah, I know it's a little bit short of an episode, but there's only so many things you could talk about with a game like this. So
Yeah, I feel like I'm saving all the stuff that I would like to have for the Shadows of Almia episode.
yeah,
Because it's just too good. It's
Yeah.
really too good.
exactly. And if you want to check out all those episodes, the link to the playlist is in the description. And let us know if you played Pokemon Ranger, like what you thought of it, or like what we could talk about for the next episode. Next episode is going to be about Battle Revolution. And yeah, thank you all for listening, for watching, sharing, supporting, whatever you do. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. You know the whole YouTube thing. But yeah, I've been very active on Twitch as well. If you want to check that out, link is in the description. Bano, do you have anything you want to plug?
Not plug, just like it kind of seems like we've undersold this game. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It definitely doesn't deserve to be undersold. But
No.
it's just not it.
Right.
The next game is
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, next game is it, which it'll probably be here at some point in the playlist, but
We'll get to it. Yeah.
we'll get to it. But yeah, thank you all for watching. We'll check you in the next episode. Later.